Hey there, Entre-Hubbers, entrepreneurs and small business owners everywhere. Matt Tukaki here, back for another short burst of knowledge learning. Now don't forget, everything's on our website. So this is only a short overview, or conceptually, some backgrounder of something that we already have at www.entrehub.org in our 15 tips series. So what are we going to be covering today? Well, before I covered the business plan, I covered market research, I've covered the unique sales proposition. Well, today I want to get you thinking all about social media. Now, wow, we could be here for a whole year talking about this subject and talking about this issue. So I'm just going to give you enough to get your mind going and to start thinking about A, when is the right time for me to be on social media? 2, what should I be doing when I'm on social media? And 3, should I even be on social media? All right, so let's start with that number 1. When is it really good for me to be on social media? Well, the first thing is don't run at it. There is no point in just throwing up a Facebook page or opening a Twitter feed or opening a corporate website or whatever the case might be, or a profile or a group on LinkedIn, unless you know why it is you're going to be interacting on this platform, and more importantly, and we'll cover this in a later knowledge bite, how your brand and how your product and how your idea is going to be presented. The big mistake that a lot of us make is because we just rush into this thing, we get it wrong right off the get-go. The other thing that I really want to implore with you about is not to actively seek to engage only your family and friends in your initial foray or adventure into social media. And why is that important? Well, it's kind of like an earlier thing I said, which was around raising capital. Now, if you go to your mum or your father or your brother or your sister and you say, wow, I've got such a fantastic idea, and you convince them to put money into your business, they do so because primarily they do love you. They don't always agree with everything that you do, and when the business fails, they'll still tell you that they love you. The same is true in building and developing your tribe on social media. What you want to do instead is have a look at who in the marketplace is already on social media and say, how are they interacting with their audience? How are they building their audience? How are they engaging people back into the conversation? And then more importantly, what kind of subtle tools are they using to convert that audience or that tribe into a sale? All right? Because you do not want to spend a huge amount of time on social media unless you are monetizing it. Now that might sound evil, but the same is true for the not-for-profit sector. We put a lot of time and a lot of labour cost into playing around on social media, and very rarely do we think about how we're ultimately going to monetize it. Yeah, it feels good that we've got a whole lot of people following us, but are they following us for the right reason? So the first thing you need to do is sit down and do a bit of a mapping exercise on what your competition's profile is currently like on social media, and as I said before, who are they engaging with and why are they engaging with them, and then how are they engaging with them. Don't learn your own lesson, learn the lessons that other people have already learned. The second really important thing when it comes to social media is ensuring that you've got consistency across all of the different platforms that you're operating over. Now, why do I say that? Well, when I go onto somebody's Twitter account and it's a corporate account and I know, that they're a small business owner or a startup, the brand may look fantastic. I go to their Facebook group and the brand looks completely different. Even the messaging looks completely different. Even the use of hashtags looks completely different. And what you've got to make sure you do, that if you are on a multiple of platforms, whether it be Pinterest, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter or LinkedIn, whatever the case, make sure that you have consistency of both brand and message that cuts right across those different platforms. The other key thing too, and this is why it's important to develop a strategy, is that don't overwhelm the audience with too much information that is rapid fire posting. Problem with rapid fire posting is you don't give people the opportunity to digest the message that you're trying to deliver. Again, that's why it's best to sit down and work out a strategy. The third thing you've got to get right is also understand what works already and what doesn't work so well when it comes to building your tribe and building your audience. And I come back to a statement I made at the beginning about friends and family. Look, friends and family will of course like what you do. If you put a post up on your Facebook page, they'll like it. But do you want them to like it, or do you want to build an audience that really wants to be there and really does want to engage with whatever it is that you've got going on? And I would argue that you probably want the latter. All right, so that's a really hard thing to get through your head. Yes, there is a business case of building an audience that is mostly family and friends at the beginning, but don't be too enamored by it. So social media strategy is all about getting the fundamental cornerstones right before you run out there. So it requires a lot of thinking and a lot of planning, a lot of mind mapping and a lot of drawing on pieces of paper. So what are the key takeaways so far? Number one, make sure the brand is consistent across all of the platforms or groups that you're engaging with. Number two, make sure that the messaging is consistent. If you use hashtags on Twitter, use hashtags on Facebook and LinkedIn too. The third thing is make sure that whatever it is that you're posting is also consistent across the three mediums, social platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn or Twitter especially, because those things actually retweet or repost off each other. So you've got to get that right as well. The other really important takeaway message is building the audience. You always want to build the audience from whoever it is you're competing against already. And by that I mean, go back to what I said at the beginning and understand what your competitors are doing, because the very audience they might already have is the exact audience you want to convince to come over to your side. That's a bit of a dark art of social media. So planning is so important. Finally, I want to say this. You don't have to be on social media just because you think you do. Now, there is some research that says that between 8 and 10 hours is the average length of time an American small business owner will spend on social media on any given week. Now, I can tell you that research is probably, even though there's a bit of evidence obviously behind it, anecdotal at best. Because all the people and all the entre-hubbers and entrepreneurs and startups that I talk to tend to spend an inordinate amount of time on social media. So decide this. Yes, be on social media, but are you missing the point of trying to sell your message or your product or your idea by failing to engage in a one-on-one human interaction with whoever it is you're trying to sell to? Or are you relying on social media to do the job for you? That's something to think about. So, entre-hubbers, entrepreneurs everywhere, my name is Matt Tukaki. Keep on coming back for some short bursts of learning via video. Make sure that you go to www.entrehub.org, have a look for the 15 great tips, case studies, templates, all sorts of wonderful gems of information. Everybody have a great day, have a great week, have a great month, and remember, keep on hunting. I'm Matt Tukaki, hooroo.